Okay.
Yes, sir. So you were explaining? Yeah.
Okay, so firstly, as I said, I don't even know if it's gonna show up, but
Yeah, yeah.
as I said, you need to get pre-approved. You need to get pre-qualified, and you need to get pre-approved. So basically, this is for the financial institutions to see how much you can qualify for,
Sure.
and because you can't go looking for properties not knowing how much you actually qualifying for. That's just a waste of time. Hence, we also ensure that we ask for proof of qualification from clients if they tell us they're looking for a certain property, so that we know that we're aiming at exactly the right amount of money that they want to, at the right amount of price of a property.
Sure.
Okay, so and then you also need to get pre-approved. This is just for the financial institutions to say, okay, this is how much we are willing to give you. And then another thing you need to do is you need to check your credit score. Your credit score is very vital when it comes to property. Whether you purchase, as long as you in property, whether you purchasing a property for your family to live in, or whether you purchasing a property for investment purposes, you just need a credit score. If you do not have any funds from elsewhere, but if you're going to be using financial institutions, you just need to have a credit score. And so financial institutions will look at the previous 2 years on how you're behaving financially. Now, if in one of those 2 years, maybe let's say the older, how can I put it? The first 12 months of the 2 years, the first 12 months, if you were paying your bills late, if you were blacklisted, or if your credit score was just a mess, now you should use the other 12 months to fix all of that. And while you're fixing all of that, this is why there's a rule of thumb. I don't know if there is, but I'd like to say it's my rule of thumb. But that rule of thumb is just plan 12 months prior before you purchase a property. Within that 12 months, you fix your credit score, you ensure that your credit score is spotless, and a good credit score is a credit score that's above 600.
Okay.
So a great, like if you have a credit score above 600, that is a great credit score.
So and then can get up to like 1,000 or something.
No, I think it gets up to 800 if I'm not mistaken, or 720, somewhere there. But a good credit score is just 600 and above. Because now even bond originators will only give you like will how can I put it? Bond originators require you to have the ones that we work with require you to have at least 600, a credit score of 600 before you can actually
Start
go
signing and go
yeah
through that
so you
process.
just need to have a credit score that's 600 and above. And then the second thing is, so you're building your credit score. That's the first thing. You pay your bills on time. If you open the store, what is it? Store credit. You ensure you paid
account, your store account and all
you
that,
ensure that you paid on time. And then you also save for the deposit, because one thing that buyers don't know is when you're purchasing a property, you're gonna pay the deposit, and you're also going to pay the transfer costs. And if it's above is it 2 million or a million? Uh, If it's above, I think it's if above a million, there's transfer costs and there's transfer duties. Yeah, if it's above a million, you pay transfer costs and transfer duties.
Okay,
So
what are transfer costs and what are transfer duties?
transfer costs is just basically you paying the conveyancers to move the property from the previous owner to, and then transfer duties is taxation. Basically, that's simplest way to explain it. It's taxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned conveyancers right
Yes.
now. Yeah. So we'll explain that
We'll
later
still,
on.
yeah, we'll
Yeah, yeah,
still
yeah,
come
yeah.
into that
Okay,
one.
okay.
Yeah, so you save that money, ensure that you save at least 20% of of the price of whatever property you're
Mm-hmm.
looking for. So ensure that you have a good credit score, you save that amount of money. And before you even go into, I did mention it,
Mm-hmm.
sorry. In
Okay.
the
Oh
pre-qualification
yeah,
thingy,
yeah,
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 I
yeah, yeah. You
mentioned
did,
it.
you did,
So
you
you
did.
need to see where you are now, and then in the next 12 months, this is what you're building from.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So, and then from there, you have the money for the deposit. And then now, let's say it's 12 months has passed, you fixed your credit score, you have the money for the deposit, and now it's time to apply for, apply for the loans.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're applying for the loans, it's, how can I put it? You don't just apply in one bank, and the minute they approve you, you don't just take whatever bank approved you. So this is why bond originators are also in place. So with bond originators, they ensure that they find you the good deal
Okay.
based off everything. So now, what I'm basically getting at here is you look for that particular loan from all the financial
Mm-hmm.
institutions, and then when they show you this is how much we can give you at this interest rate, then you can negotiate the interest rate.
Okay. Oh really?
Yes, you can
Oh.
negotiate the interest rate. So basically, but it depends though. You
Mm-hmm.
negotiating, maybe you might have a side business, and you can say, "Hey, look, I have a certain side business, and this is how much the business make.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I'd like to maybe negotiate." Actually, no, 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 not in that sense. But also, okay, I'm contradicting myself now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's one way to go about it. And then the second way is you can even go back to your bank and say, how come you're giving me such interest rates when I went to maybe Standard Bank or maybe ABSA, when I went to this bank and they
They
give
gave
me
me.
lower interest rates. Then you can
Mm.
negotiate with your bank, and then they can also give you lower interest rates based off what you receive, because at the end of the day, they're also looking to
To make money off you. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so now it's the fun part. You
Mm.
go, you look for properties. When you're looking for properties now, this it's fun, but it's very important.
Mm.
And this is where, when you're looking for properties, you do not do not view a property on your own. Please do not view a property.
Yeah, yeah.
I advise my buyers, and it's quite crazy because estate agents only look
Show
to
that you.
yeah, but for me, I base my business on relationships.
Mm.
Whether you're buying and you're not gonna buy again or whatnot,
Mm.
but I base it on my relationships, and then I ensure my goal is to just find you the best deal.
Mm.
So basically, and also give you best advice too, because I
Mm-hmm.
won't, I would never advise someone to buy a property
Because of
only.
because of
Yeah,
you want commission. Yeah.
yes, and then in
Mm-hmm.
future it comes back to bite them, because those people talk, people talk about you, that's your brand.
Mm.
So if
Mm.
people are talking bad about you as an estate
Mm.
agent, who's gonna work with you?
Mm.
Yeah. So
Mm.
basically, I advise my buyers, you know what? If you have a friend who's a contractor and you haven't spoken to them in a long while,
It's time
call that friend.
now. Mm.
If you, and this is not just for you to call your uncle who thinks that
Mm.
you call
Yeah.
someone who's actually a professional in that field.
Mm.
Or you can go another way about it and just hire an inspection company.
Okay.
Then they just come inspect it. Because now what happens is, as much as it is fun for you, it's also fun for us agents,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a thing called home staging.
Mm-hmm.
And home staging is basically, I can hire a company, they come in,
Mm-hmm.
maybe if like the structure is good and everything,
Mm-hmm.
we put our furnitures, we put our flowers,
Mm.
put nice pictures there, and show even the smell. We just ensuring that we mess your
Mm.
psychology up.
Yeah.
That when you come there,
Yeah,
you
you
just
just
want
don't,
to sign, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
need to be wary of that, because
Mm-hmm.
now you come in and then you're looking at it, and then there's a nice scent, Maybe there's the smell of cookies somewhere, and now you're feeling at home already.
Yeah, already,
You see the
yeah,
psychology behind
yeah.
it, and then you immediately want to sign because So it's always better to call someone who's a contractor. Then they inspect the walls, they look at maybe the structure, then show that everything is well. Because you on your own, you cannot tell if that crack in the wall
The
will come
crack
back to bite you in the ass in future, or
mm,
maybe it's just something with the paint.
mm,
Because also what happened was, luckily my investor, when we were looking at that property I told you about earlier on, his experience with this thing, he's dealt with properties, and he knows whenever he sees something, because the guy only painted over it. Even though he painted over it, you can still tell that something is wrong. And during the viewing, he put a lot of things in the corners to make it look as if they're moving, but actually they were trying to hide whatever it was within there. So you need to ensure that you do not view alone. You can view it on your own, you get all emotional, then you want to sign. But if you view it someone else, they don't have those emotions that you have. They there for one sole purpose, and that's to ensure that you're buying the right property. And then another thing you need to look at, if there might be a plumbing issue. Again, don't call your uncle who tells you he's a plumber. Else you've never seen him plumbing, you've never seen him. Call someone who's actually a professional in that job. And then they look at the pipes, they look at the whatnot. Because in townships, there are people who tend to build their back rooms.
on top of
Yes, and the plans are not approved. And now, if there's a plumbing issue, now you have to deconstruct them, then it's a whole mess. So ensure that, you know, your plumber tells you that everything is well and everything is fine. If the owners have nothing to hide, they won't have any problem. If you want to if you want to view it a
within
couple of
estimates.
times, just to ensure that you're purchasing the right property. And then from there, everything is fine. You're happy with the property. They give you a good declaration that the property is fine. Look at the offer to purchase. Then within that offer to purchase, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
within that offer to purchase, this is where now your conveyancer comes in. So your conveyancer comes in. Hence earlier I said relationships are very important in real estate. Your conveyancer comes in, they look at the property, I mean the offer to purchase, they look at the clauses, and then your conveyancer will tell you, no, you know what, this certain clause, it could come back and they could try and take you out of the deal, because some of them, they do not have a closing date. And now what if the property is in demand, you put an offer on it, and then someone came and put in a higher offer on it. Now they try to bring you out of the deal. So now it's important for you to have that particular closing date within the offer to purchase, to ensure that by this date we want to have closed with this deal. And and there's also another thing called the cool off. It's the cooling off period. So a cooling off period is, let's say you made a mistake and now you want out, the offer is already submitted. You have 5 days to say, you know what, I want out of this deal, and then I'm fine. So you need to be you need to ensure that you find those types of clauses. And there's also another clause that is a suspension condition. So suspensive conditions are anything that could jeopardize the deal. So if you do not sign the pre-agreement with the financial institution, let's say the financial institution said, we're going to give you an X amount for this property. We give you an X amount and you're going to be paying an X amount of interest, and you do not sign that to actually agree to that particular deal, then the suspensive condition is met and the deal falls out. If you're selling a property to buy this particular property, you're buying it subject to the sale of your property, and that's in the clause of the OTP. So when you're buying it subject to the sale of the property, now the clause is, you must sell that property either on the exact amount of the asking price of the property that you want to buy, or above that asking price. If you sell it below the asking price of the property, then the suspensive condition is met. Then the deal falls off. So you need your conveyancer to show you all of these particular clauses because they're also very vital for someone who does not know
No,
what to
yeah,
actually
true,
do.
true, true.
And also your conveyancer will tell you, okay, this is when the deposit must be paid because you paid the deposit to the conveyancers, to the transferring conveyancers. And once the deposit is paid, the conveyancers give notice to the financial institution that, okay, this person has paid a deposit. Then the financial institution can come in and give money to the conveyancer too, so that the deal can close. But now, if it take because there's a certain amount of time you have there in the clause, if you do not pay this deposit by an X amount of time, then
Yeah.
it's the whole offer to purchase will be deemed as invalid because you did not pay that particular amount on time. But if you're still raising that particular deposit, you can talk to the conveyancers. Look, this is how much I have, and this is how much I'm still raising, and they must give you consideration on that one. They cannot just take you out of the deal because you did not have that particular.
Okay.
Yes, so you need to ensure that within that particular offer to purchase, your conveyancer just takes you through all of these things. Then once the offer is signed, and then you wait your period. If it was a cash deal, then you wouldn't have went to the financial institutions and whatnot. If it was a cash deal, it's just a matter of you paying for that particular property. It goes to the conveyancers. The conveyancers do transfer. Oh, before within this time, there's a thing called bond cancellation. So
Okay.
if the previous owner was bought the house under a bond and they need to because if the property is sold, they need to have a bond attorney to cancel that particular bond
Bond.
from that particular house because now
Okay.
there's a new owner. So that's the bond cancellation process. And then now there's still a bond registration process. This is now when you're
Okay.
registering the title deed to your name. And now this typically takes from let me just say from 1 week to how many weeks, well? Basically, it's 6 weeks. Yeah, 6 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just 6 weeks. That's about a month and something days. That's typically how long it takes if it's a cash deal. But if it's a if you got it through the bank, it could take 30 to 90 days because now there's a bond. What you call this? There's a bond attorney. There's still bond cancellation on this side. There's bond attorneys. There's two conveyancers involved now, and then you still have to tackle that whole process of registering the property too. But it also depends on the type of conveyancer that you have. Now it's very vital you choose the right conveyancer because he how can I put it? If a conveyancer specializes in this and they specialize in this and they specialize in a lot of things, it's gonna take a lot of time for them to actually, the speed of the registration depends on the conveyancer.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you get a good conveyancer who knows exactly what they're doing, they can find ways to fast track that particular
Deal.
process. Yes. But now, because I think I jumped the step, before you put in an offer, so when you put in an offer, you're going to do all of those things that I've just mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah.
But before you put in an offer, you can always negotiate the price of the property. Hence, I said,
Even if you are buying with a bond.
even if you're buying with a bond, you can always negotiate. Property, what I love about it, everything is negotiable. You negotiate the price, you negotiate. Even the estate agent, if they're selling, you negotiate. I can't pay you 6%. Yeah, we can do 5. And we meet each other halfway.
Yeah, I always thought that like when you see a house, like let's say from Property 24, like
Yes.
it's always the case. Like
No.
let's say-
Property
No.
24, it's what the house is on the market for. That's property 20. Your private property, your property 24, that's what the house was on the market for. So for someone who's looking to sell, you cannot go and ask your neighbor, hey, how much did you sell your property for? Obviously, they're going to tell you they put it on the market for maybe 1.2 million, they're gonna tell you no, we sold that property for 1.2 million. This is where now Lightstone comes in the picture. So
Okay.
when you go to Lightstone tells you the prices of which properties were bought, not
Oh,
marketed,
market.
but bought.
Okay.
This is now, it shows you actual proof that this property was bought at this date
Mm.
and it was bought in this amount.
Okay. So
You know,
let's say, for an example, like you mentioned a property in Leopard's Rest, right?
yes.
Yeah. Let's say maybe a property it's around about, let's say, let's say million. It's
Okay,
shown
so
on
if
in
okay,
yeah.
okay,
Okay.
so if it's put on the market for 1 million,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go to your Lightstone,
Mm.
and then you look at all the properties similar to the one that's put
Mm-hmm.
on property 24,
Mm-hmm.
and you see that there were those particular properties were bought at 950,000, were
Mm.
bought at 900,000, and this is Lightstone shows you properties that were bought, remember, not
Mm-hmm. The
marketed,
market
but
said,
that
yeah.
were bought.
Mm.
Then you can go and negotiate and say, hey, look, I've seen the market value of this
Mm-hmm.
area,
Mm.
and such properties were bought in this amount. Therefore, I'm
Mm-hmm.
putting an offer at
For
this amount.
mm.
Because
So
sellers tend to think that I put in a swimming pool in this house, I put in this, I put in this, I
so
bought,
that's where I can
yeah. And
raise
even
the
when you go
price.
to
Yeah.
viewings, they start telling you, hey, renovations with this is what
Mm.
I've done for it and whatnot.
So all of that, that's
All of
me.
that, it's invalid.
Sure.
We only care about the market value of the property. We
Mm.
do not care about
Whatever upgrades you've
what
made.
yes, if you put in a swimming pool, now you're thinking the property is gonna go up by 50,000. That's none of our concern. We care about, okay, maybe some special features we
Mm-hmm.
can consider, but
What are those
if
special features?
it could be a swimming pool,
Okay.
that's reasonable,
Yeah.
but you cannot extend the price to whatever amount you want, because now if a property is beyond the market value, basically the price which the buyer comes in and say, look, I'm putting in an offer at this much,
Mm.
that's basically typically how much your
It's
property is
worth.
worth.
Mm.
Because now we're looking at the market ceiling, considering the market ceiling, and the market ceiling is the highest price at which a property can be sold for within that particular area. Now if it exceeds that price, it's exceeding the market ceiling. And if I come in and I give you an offer slightly above the amount of the market ceiling, probably that's what I think the property is worth for, and I deserve to have that property because I'm buying it. I'm also considering the fact that I'm buying beyond the market
Yeah.
ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the things that you need to be wary of, because sellers tend to over renovate the properties, and they think that they want these crazy prices for the properties because they've done this, they've done this, they've done this, they've done this. But even when you're renovating your property, do not over renovate your property. Always ensure you don't do much actually. You can,
No.
just
Yeah.
fix just refurbish it, ensure that it's back to standard, and then you sell it. Because now if you're thinking, if I put in this particular thing, it's gonna raise the property. That's not gonna work. You're gonna find yourself making a loss, because now at a certain point, whenever someone is thinking of this price, they're not thinking of this suburb. They're thinking
Yeah.
of another suburb.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I've come to learn. If you put in, for instance, in the township, you put in a property, if the market ceiling of the property,
Neighborhood. Yeah.
not
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
townships, but in that
Yeah.
certain township, if the market ceiling at that certain township is 800,000, you cannot say, you know what, I'll renovate and then just put it on the market for 1 million, because the second someone sees 1 million, or the second someone has 1 million, they're no longer
No,
thinking
looking.
about that suburb.
Yeah.
They're thinking about,
Going somewhere else.
because
Yeah.
they want something that's better than the one which they're currently living at. So once they have 1 million, they will never think about buying. There's very few people who could, but most people, whenever they have a particular amount of money, now they're thinking of another suburb that's higher, that's more advanced than the one that you currently at.
But isn't that what you're mentioning right now? Isn't that like a bit of a risk? Because remember, in your suburbs, there's your rates, there's your levies, and now you have 1 million, you want to buy a house. Don't you
Yes.
think you could say that's gonna be a liability to you? Okay.
you also need to be aware before purchasing,
Mm.
because when you're purchasing a property, all of these things must be disclosed to you. How much is paying the security, how much,
Mm.
if there's like, if you, especially if you're buying on an estate,
Estate.
how much they're paying the property ombudsman, how much are the levies, how much are the taxes. Those things need, how much are the rates and taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Those things need to be disclosed to you so
Mm.
that when you buy, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. And you also need to see how much the property owes in terms of levies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you can actually charge less if, let's say, the property owes in levies.
You can
You can
negotiate. You
negotiate?
say, okay,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
will use
Since you
this
owe this,
amount. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Can I pay?
Also, if it's damaged, you can get your contractor to give you a quotation and say, okay, this is how much I'm negotiating to, since
Mm-hmm.
I have to fix this property.
Yeah. If I have this way to buy it now,
Yes,
yeah.
if I have,
Okay.
if I'm buying it in good faith and it's not up to standard, then I can call my contractor and
Mm.
say, look, could you please just see how much it would cost to fix this particular property.
Mm.
Then they'll just look at everything and then they come back with your evaluation. They show you the quotation. This is how much it's going to cost. Then you negotiate the price.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. Yeah, that's
Yes.
very interesting.
So
No.
with
Yeah.
regards to your question, someone who's looking to invest into
Mm-hmm.
property, you need a team. You need your
Not just
you
yeah.
need your accountant, you need your
Mm.
attorney, you need your contractor, you need your plumber,
Mm-hmm.
you need a team basically.
Mm.
Your accountant is going to be projecting your future income. It's going to be
Mm. Mm.
projecting how much you're looking to make and what could, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
taxation too, they can give you
Mm-hmm.
great advices on how
Mm.
you can, you can get a great tax strategy. And currently the one that I've learned is buying it under a business and then getting a trust account for that business.
Mm-hmm.
That's from an that's from a conveyancer,
Okay.
and then the accountant. It's all okay. Let me just say it's two for one. So basically, as I've been saying, you buy it under a company,
Mm-hmm.
you make a trust account for that company, you segregate yourself from the property.
Yeah.
So now, if you're in trouble and someone is suing you, they cannot touch that
The
property
property. Yeah.
because that property is under a trust account.
Mm-hmm.
So that's asset protection.
Mm.
And then now you also get a business account, because if the money comes to you, and in South Africa we use a progressive
Mm-hmm.
taxation system, so meaning the more money you earn, the higher the
The
taxes you
tax. Yeah.
pay.
Yeah.
So if it
Mm-hmm.
goes into the business account and you constantly use that business account, it's also an advantage, because at the end of the financial year you can now go and claim for
Tax
tax
returns.
returns from SARS.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's also very imperative, even if, okay, this is just general speaking. Even
Mm.
if you register a company, even if it doesn't make any money, it's very important that you give returns to SARS,
Mm.
because now if you start making money and you do not give those particular returns, SARS does not know how much you're making. The minute you go and to make those particular returns, now they start charging you taxes for that money,
Mm.
that all that tax you've been dodging
With
for all this
dodging.
time.
Mm.
So it's very important you give your tax returns. I mean, you
Returns. Yeah, you are
no,
right.
you file,
Financial.
yeah, you give your tax returns to
Mm-hmm.
SARS, and then you file for tax
Tax
returns.
returns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just
Mm-hmm.
show. Yeah, you file for tax returns.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if I was putting
Mm-hmm.
it right
I
or
got
wrong.
you there, but for
Yes,
someone, I didn't
yes.
get there.
So, and also as I've been saying, your contractor is for when you go to viewings, they inspect your company, your investment,
Mm-hmm.
your plumbers to then ensure that the plumbing is done well in the property and it will come to bite you in future.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did I mention? Yeah, basically it's accountant, your
Contractor.
conveyancer, your
Mm.
contractor, your bond originator.
Attorney, but attorney is a
Oh,
contract. Attorney is a conveyancer, mustn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
Also your
Yeah.
bond originator to show
Mm-hmm.
you how much you qualify for.
Mm.
Basically, these relationships
Mm.
are important.
In
Yeah.
property investment,
Yes, in
if
property
you want to go
investment,
in,
if you want to
okay.
venture into it. But there's always a start. When you're starting out and you don't know exactly,
Mm-hmm.
when you're starting out and you cannot afford such a team, just ensure you educate yourself more and start building relationships
Mm-hmm.
too. Even if you don't have a conveyancer, you can meet a conveyancer along the way, even if it's the one who made a property transfer
Mm-hmm.
to your first
The first,
investment.
yeah.
You can build a relationship
Mm.
with them. And then, yeah, I mean, there's also a lot of accountants out there
Yeah, there is a lot of
who are more
accountant
than
out
willing
there.
to have you
Yeah.
as a client, and they can
Mm-hmm.
help you
Yeah.
structure structure your investment in a way that gives you great returns. So now
Mm-hmm.
it's a question of, are you investing to make are you investing to are you investing for a purpose, or are you investing just for profits?
Yeah.
Because there's two different things. If you're investing for a purpose, you're looking to build wealth, and building wealth is something that's compounding.
Mm.
And if you're only looking to make profit, you
Profits.
don't hire the right people. You're thinking you can handle it on your own
On your
because you don't
own.
want to pay them. For
Mm.
instance, you're thinking you can fix your own geyser issue, then the geyser bursts, you lose
Yeah.
clients, and then you
Mm.
end up having vacancy problems.
Mm.
Now you're not paying your bond anymore.
So
So
it's a
you end
lot.
up selling the property at a loss. Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my advice for people who are looking to venture into property investments.
Mm.
Educate yourself as much as you
Mm.
can and have a team. And ask yourself, are you investing to make a purpose? Yeah, are you investing for a purpose, or are you investing for profit? And if you're investing for profit, obviously, even though you're investing with the purpose,
Mm-hmm.
investment must always breed profits
Yeah.
to you. But what I mean in essence is, if you only think in profit, you don't want to pay people,
Yeah.
it's gonna come and bite you in the ass because you do not have a professional opinion.
Sure.
You know,
Sure. Sure.
if you're
Sure.
an investor, you stick to your lane. An investor is an investor. If there's a plumbing problem, you're an
Mm-hmm.
investor. You do not know anything about
Mm.
plumbing.
Yeah.
Hire
True.
someone who knows
Knows.
exactly what they're
Mm.
doing to ensure that your investment is safe.
True. True.
Yes.
True. Sure. Said a lot, man. Yo, like you have so much knowledge. So I
Uh,
see a lot of like I see books here. You know?
yeah, yeah,
Are
yeah.
these like some of the books you feed yourself on the like
Um,
there's
um,
books here. Can we like show some can you show them? Like talk like is this
this,
the knowledge that you're talking about, are these all the books that you call them?
uh,
Oh, because I see the real
I'm
the
building.
the real there's one here of Robert Kiyosaki, the real
Yeah,
book of real estate.
yeah.
We have The Secrets by Rhonda Byrne.
Buying, yes,
Byrne.
buying. Sorry,
Byrne, yeah.
yes.
It's Rhonda Byrne. We have The Miracle of Mind Dynamics. We have Yo, Balkan Ghosts by Robert D. Kaplan. Hey, there's a lot, guys. Yo, understanding financial statements. Yo.
No,
So yeah, dog. Are these all the
no.
books
I'm
here?
actually I left some at home
Okay.
because of the space.
Okay. There's actually a
And
lot here,
yeah,
mostly.
I have, especially by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I'm building. Basically, I love reading.
Mm.
So I'm one person who would choose a book over a TV. In fact, in my house, trust
Yeah,
me, my
yeah.
library would be much bigger than any type of TV you're going to see.
Mm.
So
Wow.
for me, it's getting the theoretical part and also ensuring that I
Mm.
go for,
Applying that theory.
yes.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Otherwise, no. The last person, like, tell us. Let's say, we spoke about property investment, but do you think I can start a property investment through the FLISP program?
Oh, yes, yes. So the FLIS program is a subsidy for people
Mhm,
who are earning between 3,500 and I think it's 21,750,
mhm,
somewhere there,
mhm,
plus minus.
mhm,
So it's for first time buyers.
mhm,
And if you're applying for a bond and maybe you do not have enough funds, that's why you apply for the FLIS program. So basically, they're going to evaluate. Obviously, they need to assess to
mhm,
ensure that you meet a certain type of requirements,
mhm,
and then from there, they help you get your particular home.
mhm.
And they also provide. Oh yeah, they also help with the deposit too. So it can be from, I think it's 20 something thousand up until 121,000.
Mhm.
So they can also help you with the deposit.
Towards
But
the bond, yeah.
yes, you have to prove that you earn in between. 3,500 and 21,750 plus minus. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's for first time buyers. So I don't think it was made for investment purposes, but it was made for people who are looking to buy their homes for their families for the first time. And then if you're looking for an investment, there's a lot of financial institutions that do help people start their investment, but you need to have a down payment, and that down payment should be 20% of the asking price, and that's maybe like the bare minimum of the down payment. So there's one called TUHF. It's TUHF, something like that. Tough program. So they're also a financial institution that help investors. It's purely focused on property investment. So if you have, I think it's 20% of the asking price, you put in an offer, you submit the offer to them. They send the guys, they come in, evaluate the property, and then if the property is deemed to, if the plans are approved, obviously you need to ensure that all the plans are approved, irrespective of
So
what
even
you're
if
buying.
my credit is fucked up, but
Yes,
everything went
as long as you have 20%.
really?
Yes, as long as you have 20% and the property, you run your numbers, you ensure and you can prove that the property is a good investment. And then
And how do I prove that
by running your numbers,
without me actually knowing how much are they paying there? How will I
or how basically
take
properties are investment properties are priced through a 1% rule. So a 1% rule is if the rental income of the properties accumulate 16,000, the asking price of the property is going to be 1.6 million. So you need to run around those numbers, and that's only like 1%. And then you also need to figure out how much you're going to be paying. You run your numbers, remember, how much you're going to be paying, how much you're going to be paying your bond, or how much you're going to be paying your your financial provider if you're using, for example, the TUF. And then you also need to see how much at the rate and taxes, how much you'll be paying every month. And then after all those deductions, you still left with some money. Then it's a good investment. And you also need to see, you also need to ask for the lease agreement of the lease agreement of that particular property to ensure the occupation, the occupational rate of the property. So then once they've seen all of that necessary information, then it can be deemed to be a good investment.
Okay. Wait, let's go back to Flisp before
Yes.
we continue with Tough. Flisp, you mentioned that you can't actually Flisp was the
It's
intention
made for
made
first time home buyers.
But Maja, when you mentioned that
But you can use it as long as you're a first time.
as long as I'm a first time buyer.
As long as you are a first time buyer.
So I can turn that into an investment property.
Yes, you can.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So you did answer my question. Second question, let's go to tough now. So I have the 20%.
Yes.
20% in a deposit.
Yes.
So are they obviously it's a loan?
Yes, it's a loan. It's just like the bank, everything, but they're not focused on your credit score. They're not focused on how much you qualify for. As long as you bring them 20% and say, look, this is the property, here are the numbers, I've run the numbers, here are the lease agreements for the past 3 years or 4 years or 5 years.
Where do I get those lease agreements?
You ask the owner. The seller.
Yeah, the seller.
Yes.
And if they don't have, let's say, lease agreements, because let's say I want to
you
buy,
just need to have it on paper. If you do not have, then that
statements. Can I have like financial
yes,
statements
definitely of the property. You need to ask for the financial statements for those previous times, and then basically that can prove that the property is worth the investment.
Because most Malokshini majority there's no lease agreement.
And that if you're an investor, you need to ensure you have a lease agreement. Because what can happen is you get a tenant,
Mm-hmm.
and then the tenant comes to you and say, at the end of the month, and they come to you and they say, I must end, thank you, and it's the end of the month.
Yeah,
You're
there's
expecting,
nothing.
there's nothing
Rent.
you can
Yeah.
do. But if you let them sign a lease agreement,
Mm-hmm.
if they come to you and tell you, I thank you, you can tell them, okay, it's fine, you can leave, but you're gonna have to forfeit your deposit.
So they need to have a deposit
Yes,
up
they need to
front.
have a deposit up front, and that deposit is refundable. So when they leave, you're supposed to give them the deposit back.
So let's say for a property, maybe as a car, like a rental of these days there's the rental rooms, a cars, like they go
Yes,
for like 1.2, 1 point.
yes.
So how much would someone like that pay for a deposit? Because you know
A
what.
deposit, it's typically, it depends on the owner on how much they want in the township. But a deposit is a deposit is the same amount as the
The
rent.
rent.
Yes.
Mm.
So you pay that, and you also pay the
The
rent at the
rent
same
ex-
time. So
mm.
if it's
1.2.
1.2, you'll be paying 2.4.
4.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
So meaning if you leave now, you're
You
gonna
for
get that
Yeah, you only
1
get you yeah, if you leave you get your 1.2.
1.2 back.
But if you had signed the lease agreement and you say at the end of the month, I'm leaving, you forfeit that deposit, because now you should consider me as a landlord. That deposit is going to serve as a vacancy rate, as a vacancy rate for when you're not here. And because the reason why there should be a 30-day notice when you're leaving, you're giving the owner to find someone else, so that by the time you leave, someone else comes in and the cash flow of the business keeps on running. So now if you tell me on the last day, then you're disturbing the cash flow of my business. Hence you should forfeit that particular deposit, so that my cash flow can keep on going while I find someone else. Yes.
Yeah, fun. And we haven't touched the philanthropic part of Wellington right here. Yeah. And
Yeah.
let's talk about that, man. Like how did that come about?
Basically, the person whom I'd say inspired me is the very same person whom I left the presidential position to in high school, and that's Owame Khafani. And she has I'm part of two non-profit organizations,
Okay.
and that's Itemba Initiatives and Wami Foundations.
Okay.
But the one which I got in first was Wami Foundations, because she started it as a very young child, and she's still very young, by the way.
Yeah. Uwami was the president from your school,
She is the
or
current president.
lowo mshiye lapha
Is
esikolweni.
the
Yeah,
one who
yeah,
took
yeah, yeah, yeah.
over from me.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So her reason behind the agency, I mean the
NPO.
the is the non-profit organization, is very strong. She has a very strong why as to why she's doing what she's doing. So such a person, you can already tell that they have consistency and they committed to what they're doing. You can't do something without any reason as to why you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? So someone who has a very strong why is someone that definitely willing to work with in any given day, as long as you have a very strong why, because the why is the foundation of the entire organization that you have. So with her, she's been running it, and she's also been making the newspaper. She's been she's been consistent in her work. And so I thought, you know what, let me just go in and give a helping hand. Then we made a Wami Thrive, Wami Foundations Thrive in I forget the place, but it's in Germiston. I think no, it's not Macau's. That one was with wait, I think it's Tugatole.
Tugatole, yeah, I know Tugatole, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was in Tugatole. So we went there, and then
Just by your school, most.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And so we went there, and then we gave out food parcels. We also gave out clothes, and that's when it built in me to want to help the underprivileged, because It's you finding the world, and by the time I'm gone, I would have left the world better than
Sure.
I found it,
Sure.
which
True.
is my primary purpose for
Mm-hmm.
why I do what I'm doing. Because
Mm-hmm.
as I said, even with my team, I just get happy when I see them getting listings, when I
Mm-hmm.
see them, succeeding, when I see them closing
Mm-hmm.
deals. That's my source of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Even though such things may have happened, I'll still be not even such things, but I look at what you've come from to
Mm-hmm.
get to where you are right now, and
Mm-hmm.
then seeing how you actually consistent in what you've been doing. That's the thing that makes me happy, because I see that you trying. There's people who look at their suffering and they feel sorry for themselves,
Sure.
and then there's people who look at their suffering and they keep on chasing
Mm-hmm.
their dreams, they keep
Mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
being relentless.
True.
Those are the
Mm-hmm.
people whom I look and I get happy, because I know exactly where you're coming from, and I know
Mm-hmm.
that feeling of keeping of you keeping on trying
Trying
and
again.
people keep
Mm-hmm.
on kicking you when you're down.
Mm-hmm.
So hence I said there's people who use these cars as a decoration. Oh no, ayangwazi yazi, ayihluphekile. And then there's people, and then there's
Mm.
people who use these cars as a reminder of where they
Where they
come
come from.
from.
True.
Yeah, and
True.
then so I choose the people
Use
who
their
look at
scars
as a
as a
reminder,
reminder. Yeah. True.
because it's you have two choices in
Mm-hmm.
life. You either fall victim to the circumstance, or you master your own fate.
True.
So I get happy when I see people who
Mm-hmm.
master their own fate actually win, because you deserve it more than anyone. You've
True.
worked for it. It's not OT. It was given to you. You
Mm-hmm.
had to work for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So her story has really touched me. Hence I'm saying, with her, I choose to work with her
Mm-hmm.
in any given day.
Yeah. And yeah, like it's a lot, man. Like it's a lot.
Okay, let's
Let's go into your company now, the one that you founded.
Supreme Stylish
Supreme
Agency.
Stylist Agency.
So basically, how I started the company was, I knew a lot of people who wanted to go into modeling,
Mm-hmm.
but they weren't given
The
a chance.
opportunity. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And me knowing these types of people, they didn't know each other. They
Mm-hmm.
just had something in common.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing was, let me just bring these people together and
Mm-hmm.
see what we can bring. Let's see what we can build.
Mm-hmm.
And the agency grew in such a fast pace that on social media we were just attracting a lot of people.
Mm.
I think in 2 months we made about 500 subscribers, sorry, followers.
Followers, yeah.
Yeah, we made about 500 and something
Mm-hmm.
followers in the period of, I think it's 2 or 3 months, because of the content we've been posting.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I started it, I was already an estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, let me just use some money and time into building something.
Mm-hmm.
Then we, we actually also had shoots we kept on changing the scenery of where we're doing our
Yeah.
shoots. And we had ones in Eastgate, and
Mm-hmm.
primarily it was in Fosterus, because that's
Mm-hmm.
closer to everyone. And then I had to also look into consideration that a lot of these people do not have experience, for starters. And number two, some of them were underage. And number three, a lot of them were still in high school. And so as time went on, I couldn't handle such a number of people on my own. Then I thought, you know what, let me put in a leadership structure. But putting in that leadership structure didn't go as well as I thought, because you put in some people, and then some people favor their friends over some other people.
Nepotism.
Yes, so I eventually had to pause the estate agency.
Yeah, study
Ish,
modeling.
yo, hey, I had to,
Yeah,
I,
but
ish.
I understand.
I had to pause
I understand. Yeah.
because initially my reason for making it was I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to build a creative agency,
Mm-hmm.
but it seemed I was attracting more models
Mm-hmm.
than I was actually attracting creatives.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, you know what, maybe modeling will be a section in the company and then we'll focus on marketing.
Okay. So,
Yes.
so Manji, like, what plans do you have maybe in starting your own property agency? Are those the trends that are coming on?
With that one, did you know what I believe in?
Mm-hmm.
Um, shut up and put up. Don't tell people what you're gonna do, but let the announcement announce itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I do not want to talk about something whilst I'm still in the process of it, but I would rather make a bold statement once the company is done and everything is finalized. So yeah, I mean, let's. I don't want to dive into that one, but I want the company to announce
So,
itself. I do not want to say, hey, I want to build it
no.
because I haven't even thought of a name of a company yet. Don't even know what types of agents I'm going to get. And to be purely honest, as much as I know about real estate, I still have a lot to
To
learn because
learn.
once you become a principal, there's certain things that you need to know that I do not know as yet. For starters, if you're building for starters, if you're building it's gonna take you 1 year. And if you're building in NQF level 5, and in order for you to run an estate agency, you need to have an NQF level 5. And that takes 2 years of of getting that NQF level 5. So can you just imagine how much training one has in the period of 2 years? So I can't really say that the name of the agency would be this, it would be this. Yeah, yes, there might be a name, but I do not want it to be out there. I do not want anything regarding that because I myself am still in training. It takes a certain mindset to be in this position, and it also takes a certain mindset to be in this position. And it does not only take the mindset, it also takes a certain degree of knowledge one needs to have in order to run
Successful
because
agents.
now you're not only dealing with listings, you're also dealing with agents, you're dealing with finances of the company, you're dealing with tax returns, you're dealing with trust accounts, you're dealing with any disputes that your intern estate agency has, because by law, if your intern estate agent goes and causes problems, then you are alternatively responsible for whatever problems that estate agency has caused. So I've from the estate agent, from the modeling, I prefer to call it creative because
Creative,
from
yeah.
the creative agency I've learned that although I'm a good leader, I'm just not I'm not ready to run an X amount of people if we have personal relationships with them. Because with me, it's I see potential in everyone. That's just who I am. I just see potential in everyone. And you come to me, you tell me, because this was one of the mistakes I made when I was running the creative agency. I just saw potential. Everyone wanted to be a model. I'd say, you know what, let's give you a chance. Let's go for it. But then as time kept on going, give people chances. Now they're taking pictures. It's no more serving the purpose of the company, but it's just taking pictures for posting for yourself on Instagram.
Instagram. Because
Yes,
you're sitting with the camera, right? So
yes,
now, yeah.
and now it was time to because I once told the agency, you know what, guys, you cannot say you models and not have a modeling profile. Everyone must make modeling profiles. And then that's when that was the breaking point of the agency. Then I thought, you know what, let me set this one out and just focus on real estate. And then once I have enough resources, once I have enough time for it too, then and also once I am more educated about leading an X amount of people, because in high school it was fine because there was no financial input, and everyone who got in there because they wanted to be there and they had applied and they were deemed to be compatible for that position. Now I was working with the team who knew exactly what they were doing, but with the estate agency, it was because of my mistakes of seeing potential in everyone and just as much as I love seeing people grow, but you need to show me that you need to grow too. And with that being said, because now I'm actually I'm restarting it again,
Okay.
and I spoke to a few because I'm actually glad I have some very good models who, even though the agency was paused for a long period of time, they still stuck to it and they're waiting for it to reopen again. So I appreciate them for their loyalty, and it will pay off this time because I'm working on something that will benefit everyone. And I'm talking in essence of opportunities because from real estate and relationships, I've met a lot of people
Yeah.
and such people who are
Yeah.
willing. When you meet someone because of property and then they wind up telling you I'm also in
Sure,
entertainment.
sure,
Yeah,
sure,
so
sure.
I've met a lot of those people. So now we on building it the right way,
Oh,
and
okay,
I won't
okay.
be part of um the decisions that will be made in terms of who will be hired, and because I know that's my weakness, I see potential in everyone. But now there's someone who's going
To
to
do all
actually
this.
assess, okay, are you capable enough to handle such a thing?
Yeah.
So that's what we're currently working on with the agency.
Yeah, no, Jaya, hey, you have a lot. We can talk for days. Like we can have this conversation for days,
These
Jaya.
are
No,
such
so,
conversations that I love.
ne?
You can ask anyone who knows me. Whenever we're talking about partying, we're talking about girls. Yes, we do talk about them, but
It's
it's
not something
in a
productive.
while.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
It's not full, full.
but yeah,
It's very,
I
so
don't have.
full.
I just like better words. Yeah, that's how to put it. I like better words when we talk about such things. But when we're talking about investments, we talk about building wealth. We're talking about strategies. That's when I can talk for days,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
guy.
Nah, it's up, Jaya, my club. So, what's next, Jaya? Like, where to from now? But you did say because you don't like talking about the thing, like
Yes,
some of the things. So,
yes.
what's happening here? Like, where can people find you? Like, what?
You can find me on Facebook. It's Boniso Given. On Instagram, it's Boniso the Realtor. TikTok's Boniso the Realtor. What other platforms do I have? I think I'm on Twitter too. Yeah,
Yeah, but you're
yeah.
not active enough.
I'm
Ne?
not I'm only there for when people invite me for what you call this space live space or something to talk about property related things.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I'm not active in that space. You can also get me on LinkedIn too,
Yeah.
Sponiso the Realtor.
No, yeah, yeah.
So
LinkedIn, yeah.
everywhere, whenever you type in Sponiso the Realtor, my
Yeah.
name is just gonna pop up in there.
Yeah. So, any upcoming events that you want to talk about?
Oh yes, yeah, but the one that's happening now,
Soon. This one
yeah,
is
it's
soon,
short
soon.
notice. But I am having a property masterclass for first time buyers and first time sellers. And this is aimed at exclusively people who are looking to purchase or sell a property within this quarter or within any time soon. And the event is completely free. It's going to be in Joburg South. I'm going to upload a poster on my social networks where you can get more details. There's going to be a conveyancer, there's going to be property investors, there's going to be property specialists, and there's also going to be a bond originator. Basically, all the parties involved in the transaction of a property, they're going to be there. So you won't just be getting advice from an estate agent telling you about conveyancing, or else you'll be getting advice from someone who's actually practicing within that field and they can answer all the problems that you have in properties. Maybe someone must have been trying to kick you out of the deal and you need a conveyancer to give you advice on what you can do. So this is your time to actually come up and you're going to get that particular advice from a real life professional who's actually experienced and also has the license. So this is going to be on the 15th of October, which will be a Saturday, and all the details will be on my social platforms. And since this is my first property masterclass, there's gonna be food, there's gonna be drinks, so it's all on me.
I don't know. Who
Yeah.
doesn't like free food and free
Yeah,
drinks?
so it's just imagine I'm giving you food for you to come
To come,
and learn about real estate, and you know, yeah. So yeah, let's have it, man. Let's go for
I'm
it.
actually looking forward to that one, guys.
I'm looking forward to seeing you too,
looking
man.
forward to that one. You understand? So
Yes.
yeah. Man, Spony thanks for having me again.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a
thanks for
pleasure.
having
I
me,
love being
bro.
around people who are innovative
Yeah.
and love pushing as well.
Nah, thank you very much, Doc. It's such an honor, especially most with these kinds of conversation. Like now, you are saying you're going to be giving this
Yeah.
what you just said now, but in a bigger audience.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand.
Get you
So,
totally.
Actually, it's such a wonderful. Like I know we can talk for days. You
Yes.
understand? Yeah, we can talk. If Nami had, but mind you, remember this is about you now. You understand? Nami,
Yes.
I do have some 2 cents knowledge, Nyana. You understand? But this is all about you. You understand? You are here to
Yes,
teach us.
definitely,
You understand? You are
definitely,
here to
yes.
teach us. So I can't really say much, but then to listen to the knowledge that you have and learn
Yes,
from it, and
yes.
and what's the word, and implement, is it the word?
It's implement, yes.
Implement whatever knowledge that you are sharing with us now. You understand? So
Yes.
thank you very much, dog. Like,
No,
thank
it's
you
a
very much.
pleasure,
Thank you
man.
very
It's a
much.
pleasure. And also thank you for pitching up for the second coming of
Yeah,
because the first one was
the first one, the first one actually wasn't the one. You
yeah,
understand?
but
and
we made it.
yeah, we made it.
work.
Even the first one, I was
Yeah,
like, it's
we
fetching.
pushed through it. So
It's fetching like 100 views. I was so happy. I was like, yo, this one is fetching 100 views. Like, like one video, like it's fetching 100 views. And like, I'm like, okay. So meaning like I guess people like loved what you said, and that was part one.
yes.
You understand? That was
yeah.
that
Also,
was part one.
yeah.
So we had a part two. You know, I had a part two that was gonna drop, but then
we had
you said we're not gonna drop. So
because I love quality. So we had to redo it all over again to ensure that the people get exactly what they're bargaining for. That's what I love. Quality.
Thanks.
And then my advice to the youth is
I was supposed to come to that. I was supposed to come to that.
my advice to the youth is be relentless. When Ricky Rick said invest in the youth, I really believe in that.
True.
Like you are the roots of this nation. Everything depends on you. So in whatever you do it with love. For starters, you need to be passionate about what you're doing, because one thing which I've come to learn in life is you will never, not even by chance, beat someone who loves what they're doing, because someone who loves what they're doing, they can fail over and over and over and over again, but they will still keep going because they love what they're doing. And then number two is focus more on the system rather than the goal. Many people give up on what they're doing because they're only focusing on the goal. For instance, if you're a soccer team and your goal is to win the league, you cannot spend the entire season looking at the league. In essence, every team that starts the league, their goal is to win the league, But the only difference is the teams that actually implement the right systems, they hire the right coaches, they ensure that training is done in X amount of days per week, they ensure that they have right systems put in place. If this player cannot play because of injury, how do we keep the game going? How do we keep that momentum going? You need to put in such systems in place, and then inadvertently those particular systems will give you the results that you've been looking for. So the goal is just a reward for you implementing the right system. The goal is how can I put it? The goal is the end results that shows you the effectiveness of your system.
True.
So ensure that you put in the right systems. And one thing also I've learned, between a loser and the winner, they all have the very same goal. The only thing that separates the winner from the loser is the systems that they've actually put in place. So it's not about what you want, but it's about how much time you spend building up to what you want. And it's not only that, but what time management do you put in place to ensure that you're actually giving yourself stepping stones to reach towards that particular goal that you're looking for. So my advice to you is just forget about the goal and ensure that you focus on the right systems. Once you put the right systems, the goal you will be easily achieved because the systems are the vehicle or the mechanism that's actually driving you to the goal. So that's my advice to you.
Yo, profound. Very powerful. Yeah, very powerful, because if you don't have the right system in place, you
Yes.
will never fail.
Yes.
We
So
always feel like
systems
you're
are
failing, yeah.
way more important than the goal. Even for someone who's just solely focused on the system, they'll inadvertently achieve what they didn't even plan to achieve. It's not even rocket science. If you put in a certain amount of time in something, it's gonna breed something out. You know what I'm saying?
True.
If you put in habits to studying every day, you're gonna pass. And your goal maybe to get, maybe if in high school your goal maybe to get it in maybe 80 or 70, you end up getting a 90. Why? Because you spend your time studying. So what do you spend your time on that's actually going to lead you to what you want?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's very true and powerful. Yeah. Siyabonga kakhulu, Njaya.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you for
very much,
having me.
Thank you very much. So, yeah. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Go follow this guy. Go make sure you follow him. Especially, he's about to drop some content there by you, TikTok, right?
Oh yes. I'm working on it.
Working on it. The last time we spoke about
As I
it,
said, I don't like speaking about something, but I prefer the announcement to announce itself. So yeah, it's gonna go down, but just tune in. If you want real estate education, if you want to know how to hack the system in terms of real estate, if you want to know how to negotiate better deals in terms of real estate, just go on and tune into my page, because I'm not yet on
will
YouTube.
actually put that in the link.
I'm going to give you my link tree. So my link tree has basically all the links to all my social media platforms.
Cool.
Yes. So I'll just give you that, and then you can also put it up there. And I'm also a very friendly person. So you can just hit me up if you want us to talk. You want to know more information about how to get into the industry. You want to know more information about because I have a lot of contacts. I've built a portfolio that allows me to actually basically communicate with whoever I want. I have and what I love about it is it's the network that I've built. Your network is your net worth. So this is what I've built. If you want to know more about these types of funding I'm talking about, you can hit me up, and then I will, give you someone who's in that field, and they're gonna help you. If you want to grow in properties, I don't know much about anything else, but properties, that's the one thing that I'm really good at. So if you want to know more about properties, if you want to know more about financial institutions that are willing to fund your investment, if you want to know more about if you win a loophole with the property and someone is trying to kick you out of a deal, or you're not getting the financial funding that you need, just hit me up, man. Just hit me up. I talk to everyone and anyone, and you don't have to pay me. This is a free conversation, and we can talk, and then I can help you solve all your property problems, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to solve property problems.
True. No. Thanks, Bonnie. So thanks,
it's a pleasure, man.
So yeah, guys, you know what to do. Subscribe, share, comment. And like I said, go spam this guy. Any information you need, go spam him. I'll put everything